Hello guys, this is me Simu Urahara, and in this video I want to talk about Urahara's Bankai and in general about Benihime. If you want my general opinion about Urahara's Bankai, the truth is I was waiting for more things, especially in combat mode. Maybe because the Bankai just appeared in one chapter, so it couldn't really dazzle me. And if there was more chapters about the Bankai, we would have seen more techniques other than what appeared in one chapter. Or I should admit and say I didn't imagine Urahara's Bankai would be like this. It's just a feeling, and I'm not detracting the Bankai's power, because as you know, my favorite character in Bleach is Urahara Kisuke, and my favorite Zanpakuto is Benihime. And I already told you that I love male Shinigami who have female Zanpakuto like Kiyokos Shinsui, the 8th Kenpachi Azashiro Soya, and Urahara. So first of all, I will tell you what's my problem with the Bankai, and then I will talk about the Bankai itself. So as I said, I had a special idea of what Kisuke's Bankai might be, and also the personality of Benihime, because Kisuke throughout the story, all his intervention was using his Shikai, Benihime, and as we know, he is the second Shinigami who shows his Shikai after Renji. And since that scene, Kisuke's Zanpakuto caught my attention. The name Benihime Crimson Princess is one of the most beautiful names of Zanpakuto in Bleach, and also what intrigued me in Benihime is that Urahara Kisuke always says a command word. It is known that the most of Shinigami use a command word in order to use Shikai. For example, Rukia says Mei, which means dance, so they know Shirayuki. And after that they can use the Shikai techniques, like the first dance, White Moon Tsukushiro, which means they just say a command word and use various of techniques with special name. But in Kisuke's case, he always says a command word, which expresses Benihime's behavior that result in a technique. So the command word for Shikai is Okiro, wake up, Benihime. Then when he wants to shoot those crimson blows or the shield, Kisuke uses the word Nake, scream, Benihime. And if you see the shield that Kisuke has, it got some blood on it, either on the shield or on the blade of Benihime. And Kisuke uses another technique in the third field. He said Shred Benihime, and against Aizen he used Shibari Benihime. So based on what mentioned, the name of Zanpakuto techniques, Scream, Nake, Shred, and the scene of the blood on the shield, all of that made me take an idea that Benihime has a bloody, sadistic personality. She likes to kill, she likes the blood. So you could say that I was imagining her like the Zanpakuto of Azashiro. On the other hand, I thought that the Bankai would follow the general rule. The Bankai is an extension of the Shikai techniques, but with more techniques with a manifestation of Benihime. And Benihime, for example, also holds a crimson sword and fight next to Kisuke. So she uses various Kiro techniques that can make the opponent be tortured. For example, a technique called Red Rom, like the one we hear in the Deep Whip, while keeping the same style of the Shikai. I mean, giving us a new style of fighting, but in the same time, the Bankai keeps the Kido style that was in the Shikai mode. Especially when I first heard Kisuke's word when he said to Renji that his Bankai is not fit for training. My mind went straight to the thing that I mentioned to you. On the other hand, we must not forget that Kisuke is the only one besides Ichigo who mastered his Bankai in 3 days, using Tenshintai that he invented, and because of this ingenious invention, Ichigo was able to achieve Bankai faster. And now to talk about Kisuke's Bankai we saw in the final arc, I have to say that the time of releasing it was 22 chapters before the end of the manga. In a sense, it can be said that Kisuke's Bankai came at a time when Kobo was accelerating events dramatically to finish the story in the summer of 2016. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that if things were going normally, I think we could have seen more space for Kisuke's Bankai. But in general, in the fight of Kisuke against Asuken, something strange happened. We know that Kisuke in any intervention appears and he already activated his Shikai, and that happened twice, against Yami and once against Aizen. But in his fight against Asuken, he didn't activate the Shikai, and he was fighting with Benihime in the sealed form, as you might see in this scene. So I found it strange how Kisuke is fighting one of the 8 guards of Urahara with a sealed Zanpakuto. Maybe Kisuke thought it wouldn't work against him, and so he went directly to use the Bankai, and by doing that, Grimmjow could enter from outside, and this is why he used the Bankai without activating the Shikai, meaning Benihime appeared behind him and the Zanpakuto still in a sealed form, and I really didn't like this. I mean, I didn't like the idea of the Zanpakuto to steal in a sealed form, even after Kisuke activated his Bankai. It is true that the Shinigami can release their Bankai directly like how Kinsey does in this scene, but the problem is with the sword, which remained sealed, and so the Bankai looks like only limited to the appearance of the huge Benihime. Or does the Bankai included Kisuke's sword, which means the sealed sword is a part of the general shape of Kisuke's Bankai, because the sealed sword makes Kisuke lose the advantages he has in the Shikai, which is long range attack and the formation of the shield. On the other hand, the shape of the Bankai is similar to Mayuri's Bankai, so if Katen Kyokatsu doesn't appear to the opponent, just to Kyoraku, and the same thing with Azashiro's Bankai or Uzakuro, Benihime Atarami appears like a huge woman, like Mayuri's Bankai. They both appear to the opponent. We see how Asuken was surprised when Benihime Atarami appeared, and this is what I didn't like. When the Bankai is huge and visible to others, it gives the advantage to the opponent to be able to attack the Bankai itself, like the Bankai of Komamura and Mayuri's Bankai when he was fighting Yuryu. And I'm just talking about shape here. So I wish the Bankai was small and flexible. And there is other thing about the shape. It is true, as many say, Benihime Atarami, the shape of her body looks similar to that of Shochara, and I'll talk about this point in a little while. Now let's talk about the ability of the Bankai. Its ability is to reconstruction whatever Benihime Atarami touches. Even the title of the chapter was The Princess Dissection, and it is a hint for the Bankai ability. Benihime Atarami can dissect the human body, like any doctor, but she is not only dissecting the body, not even treating it, but rather she is reconstructing whatever, whether it was damaged like Kisuke's eye, which was bloated by gift ring, or open Asuken's arm like this scene. But the problem of the Bankai is that it can be effective in a limited range. In this scene we see Asuken's arm fully opened, then he went back to a certain distance, so at that moment he was out of the range of the Bankai, and so his arm came back to its normal form. On the other hand, the Bankai gives Kisuke the ability to heal damage he may get in the fights, no matter how big the damage is. It is enough that the Bankai reconstructed his eyes, I mean his left eye was completely damaged, so any healing, whether it is human techniques or the healing of Kido of Shinigami, I don't think they can heal that kind of damage. So the Bankai exceeds the healing as it reconstructs the eye as a new one. That's why we can't say it is a healing Bankai, but it has the ability to exceed the healing, and in the same time it doesn't reach Orihime's ability. Therefore I can put the Bankai above the level of healing and below Orihime's ability. So this is all about the defense side of the Bankai. Now let's talk about the attack side. And as we saw, the Bankai doesn't just reconstruct the thing, but also gives to Kisuke more power when it reconstructed his hand, which made Kisuke able to push Asuken with that brutal force. The ability of the Bankai can reconstruct not just the human body, but as Kisuke literally said, whatever it touches. So the Bankai could open a hole in the Dulix, and that helped Gorimijo to enter and made that deadly attack. So if we want to summarize Kisuke's Bankai, there are two important things. One is reconstruction whatever it touches and become a new thing, and give Kisuke a physical strength to reconstruct parts of his body. But there is a weakness in this ability. It's the limited range of the Bankai. It is enough to say that all you need is a certain distance away from Kisuke to avoid the ability of his Bankai. And in the wiki they said that what the Bankai reconstructed is disappeared when Kisuke disabled the Bankai, and they said when Kisuke fell and Benihime fell with him too, his eye, which was damaged and reconstructed, began to return to its former state, and the blood started come out from the stitches that formed by Benihime Atarami. And this is what I don't agree with, because there is no evidence that what the Bankai reconstructed inside Kisuke's body will be nullified, as long as Kisuke did not do that. What I saw was because of Asuken increased the poison in the Dulix, and Kisuke started to bleed from his mouth, and he was fighting for a while inside the poison place. So it is normal to get damaged, and even the stitches will get some blood out. So I find the idea of everything returned to its previous state when the Bankai is disabled totally stupid, because the Bankai's ability is reconstruction whatever to something new. So Kisuke's eye will form it to be new eye. So when it was formed, the mission of the Bankai is over, and there is nothing left to relate it between the Bankai and the eye. I mean, what are the advantages of the Bankai if that was its weakness? And based on manga, Kobo didn't show if Kisuke's eye returned to its previous state or still in in its new form. It doesn't appear because of Kisuke's hair, and as far as I know, even in the novels, there isn't any information that confirms this thing. Anyway, and in my personal opinion, Kiyokos Bankai should have been something more special to the similarity between Kiyokos Bankai and Urahara. This needs another video, but let me share with you some of my ideas. In the case of the physical appearance, it is true that the similarity exists between Urahara and Benihime. Maybe it's just a coincidence, and maybe the opposite, which is the most likely, such as the case of Yhwach and Zangetsu. In the first appearance of Yhwach, many people noticed the similarity between them, and some said it's just the same drawing, and then we discovered it is more than that. So maybe the same goes with Kisuke and Urahara, especially that we can find that there are many things related between them, and in my opinion the important point is Mayuri. Kisuke knows Mayuri, and Urahara knows Mayuri, and maybe this relationship between them since several hundred years. So it is possible that Kisuke was introduced to Urahara by Mayuri, or maybe he met her in the royal palace if it is confirmed in the future, and it could be because of special training he had with her, so the Bankai was formed like her. So like what I said, there will be a video about this important topic, and I will talk about Urahara's origin and her relationship with both Kisuke and Mayuri. So guys, what do you think about Kiyokos Bankai? Tell me about your opinion in the comments, and see you guys in my next video.